What's going on, you guys? Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. With Borderlands 4 being my first entry into the franchise, I gotta say this game is fucking amazing. All right, from the grinding to the percentage drops on the loot, like it just everything all around looter shooter, this shit is a vibe. These black holes gonna make me crash the fuck out, game. I'm gonna be real, bro. I'm over here fighting black holes more than I'm fighting the fucking enemy, bro. What are we doing? I've spent countless hours on the game, and then when I get off the game, I go straight to YouTube to learn even more about the game, more about the series. I'm finding myself down a storyline rabbit hole. But hey, with all that out of the way, Borderlands 4 is amazing. I've put all my time into Harlowe. I'm just now kind of starting to sprinkle in other characters, but Harlowe has got to be it for me. As you've seen from the intro clip, I have a build that completely annihilates bosses. Okay, that was a primordial vault boss that you guys saw in the clip, and I just completely wrecked it. I synergized the red tree with a couple of passives from the blue and green tree to create something utterly disgusting. With all that being said, if you want to stay up with the latest and the greatest in gaming, just some great vibes all around, hey, I stream live every single day. If you want to pull up to my Twitch, the link will be down below in the description. Make sure to drop those likes, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys in the video. All right, so here we have it. This is going to be my red tree Harlowe build. So for the red tree, obviously you're going to have to go with the red tree. Okay, this is going to be the Chroma Accelerator. We're basically going to fire an unstable energy pocket from Harlowe's Chroma Accelerator. It passes through enemies, dealing cryo damage to all enemies it passes near. Pressing E will cause it to explode, dealing radiation damage in a large area. All right, so since that is the key action skill, we're gonna base our entire skill tree around that action skill, and it actually works out really fucking nicely. For our main action skill right here, we have Chroma Accelerator, and then for our augment, we have Neutron Capture as well as Demon Core. All right, so for Neutron Capture, all damage Harlowe's unstable energy pocket deals to enemies, it's gonna be stored. When it explodes, a portion of that stored damage is transferred to Harlowe's gun, causing her to deal bonus radiation damage. Okay, so this is gonna be the key factor in taking out those bosses. In the clip that you saw, the moment I hit the explosion and began shooting my gun, all of that damage that was stored is what was killing the boss. Okay, so like I said, let's build our tree around that. Okay, and then for Demon Core, as Harlowe's unstable energy pocket travels, it shoots radiation darts. This is just helping us apply that radiation to other enemies, because you're going to see throughout the build, enemies that are applied with radiation are just going to completely get obliterated. Like they're just wiped. Moving on over to the main skill tree, we're going to spec 5 points in a field ready prototype. This is going to give us a 30% increase to our action skill damage. Moving on down to elementary, Harlowe gains increased elemental damage and status effect damage. Okay, so we're going to want more damage if all we're going to be doing is applying elemental effects and status effect damage. Okay, and then boom, getting these two is what got us to that Neutron Capture. All right, and then moving on over to the bottom left of this top section, we have test subjects. Whenever Harlowe applies a status effect to an enemy, she gains increased action skill cooldown rate. Okay, so since our action skill is key to applying our max amount of damage in this build, we're gonna need that back. All right, we're gonna need that action skill right back, you feel me? So let's get it back as fast as possible. Okay, so we're gonna spec 5 out of 5 in the test subjects. Moving on over, we're gonna put 1 in Elephant's Foot. All right, we're getting 1 in Elephant Foots because the class mod that we run, we're getting an additional 1 for that. So in a sense, I kind of can take this out, keep my class mod on, and maybe go put something elsewhere, which I might end up doing. But for now, this is how it's run, and I ain't feeling like shit right now. So make do what you got. All right, so moving straight down, this is where we're gonna get our Demon Core augment from. But to get the Demon Core down here at the bottom, you have to spec into some shit. So we're gonna go 5 out of 5 on Poison Sun, 3 out of 3 on Fissile Launcher, 3 out of 3 on Chain Reactor, 1 out of 1 on Wasted, and 1 out of 1 on Dirty Bomb. Okay, so what do these do? Poison Sun, Harlowe gains increased radiation damage and irradiation chance. All right, Fissile Launcher, whenever Harlowe damages an irradiated enemy or an entangled enemy, shoot a radiation dart at another enemy. All right, so once again, like I said, radiation everywhere. All right, status effects being applied everywhere. Yeah, Chain Reactor, 3 out of 3, Harlowe deals bonus radiation damage to entangled enemies. And then for Dirty Bomb, we have whenever Harlowe irradiates an enemy, you create a radiation explosion on that enemy. And Wasted, this is a kill skill. Okay, killing an irradiated enemy or killing an enemy with radiation damage leaves behind a radiation hazard. And then like I said, this is going to unlock Demon Core, which will shoot those radiation darts as your unstable energy pocket travels through wherever you shot. And last but not least, right above me, we're going to be running Mechanical Brilliance. Okay, so whenever Harlowe damages an enemy with a skill, she gains increased skill damage. This effect does stack for a max of 50%. 50% bonus. All right, so you're gonna get a 50% bonus on your skill damage whenever you damage an enemy with the skill. Okay, so that's beautiful, and you're gonna see how this goes hand in hand with something on our specialization tree a little bit later on. So I do have 34 points invested here on the red tree, and then the rest of my points are dispersed throughout the blue and green tree. So going over to the green tree, as you can see, we have 5 out of 5 points on momentum, and this is whenever Harlowe entangles an enemy, she and her allies are going to deal an increased critical hit damage. So that's just like a little bit of support, tad bit of support. Didn't really have to go this, but this is just what I choose to run, right, just to help out the team a little bit. And then I got 10 points over here for the blue tree. All right, for our 5 out of 5 on pulse drive, this is going to gain an increased action skill cooldown rate. What did I say earlier? Our action skill cooldown rate is the body embodiment of this build, so we're gonna have to, you know, base ourselves around that. And then moving on over, so we're gonna go 5 out of 5 on that. So moving on over to make extraordinary, we have 5 out of 5 on this as well, and this is Harlowe gains critical hit chance with all skills, and this chance will increase every time Harlowe entangles an enemy. This effect does stack as well, and it's going to be 10% crit chance with an additional 5% for a max of 10 stacks. Okay, beautiful. So that's going to do it for the actual skills themselves. All right, and if you don't think that this build slaps already, then I'm telling you right now, it's about to. Moving on over to the specialization tree, this is probably where all my real true juice comes from, is the specialization tree right here. As you can see, I'm level 102, pushing. I don't know, hey, if you don't know them Vile Bounty contracts, go check out my TikTok for the sauce on the XP farm, you feel me? But I did notice that when I was level probably like 50-60, I started to really see increases like every time I gain another 5-10 levels. I ain't gonna lie, I started seeing crazy increases in my damage output, and I think it's just because of the way that I spec this. Okay, so for our passives over here, we have one shot, one kill, we have riddle you this, we have I am a gun, and we have now with caffeine. All right, so one shot, one kill. This is another kill skill. Excess damage will be stored and added to your next gunshot. So overkilling enemies is always going to be beneficial to us, and majority of the time when you get into these later, you know, these later missions and UVH 5 and you continue to scale up higher, you're gonna overkill an enemy almost every single time. So it's gonna store an excess amount of 100% of damage into my gun for 12 seconds. All right, moving on over to riddle you this. Whenever the Vault Hunter deals gun damage, you gain a stack of riddle you this, which is gonna further increase gun damage. Stacks are lost if a new stack has not been gained for a duration. All right, this is going to give me 1% per stack of gun damage for a max of 50 stacks. Moving on down to I am a gun. Action skill damage now benefits from increases to gun damage. So action skill damage is 50% of increases to gun damage. All right, huge. And then now with caffeine, it's our last one. Reduce action skill cooldown whenever a rep kit is activated. So we've seen 3 bonuses all across the board, right, for a max of 25% each on the skill cooldown reduction, right? That totals out to 75. All I'm gonna say is when I apply that extra skill cooldown and then I start looking to apply status effects elsewhere, by the time I get ready to pop my rep kit to kick in this activation right here, I'm already getting my action skill back. Okay, so I don't know if the math does math up. You know, I ain't really about to take the time to try and figure that out. You feel me? I just found something that works, so I'm going to continue to use what works, and without having to put myself in harm's way of learning new things. Okay, so now let's get into this juice of a specialization skill tree. So we have 20 points in Survivor, Brute, and Sharpshooter. Right, so for Survivor, this is going to be the Vault Hunter gains increased maximum health and shields. For Brute, we're going to be gaining increased gun damage. For Sharpshooter, we're going to gain increased reload speed and accuracy. And then for Runner, we're going to get increased movement speed and melee damage. This is probably the least important. The only reason I have 10 spec in it here is because I needed Daredevil. All right, Daredevil is going to give us an increase in action skill cooldown rate. So having 10 out of 10 on Brute and Sharpshooter is also going to unlock Killer. Killer is going to give us an increase to critical hit damage and status effect damage. All right, and then Gadgeteer, obviously having 10 out of 10 here is going to unlock your Gadgeteer. I haven't really been too keen on unlocking anything in Gadgeteer. I mainly only use my grenades to apply a status effect to an enemy that is weak to that status effect, you know what I mean? So you'll notice one thing whenever we get to the gear, that I do have everything kind of spec'd for preparation. Like in case like anything gets thrown at me, I'm able to combat it with whatever it's weakest to. So I have a fire gun, I have corrosive nades, I have a shotgun, and then I also have I think it was a corrosive weapon, corrosive wombo combo, but I don't really need anything for radiation because I am radiation basically. But yeah, I chose to go with these passes because they do synchronize hand in hand with some of the passes that I have in my skill tree. I will say that I was thinking about taking off I am a gun and putting on a honed mine, which is just going to give us that critical hit chance and damage for our action skill. And I don't know, I just haven't made the swap yet. Let me know what you guys think about it. I don't know, I just think everything's kind of set standard. Like and in a standstill where it's at now. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. This is the setup right here. This is what I'm running. As you can see, this is like a mainly legendary loadout, but it's just because some of these pieces like are just unbeatable, mainly not only because of like the piece that they are, but because of the firmware that it came with, or that I was able to roll onto it. And the main gun that I always have in my hand, or most of the time and probably always gonna have in my hand, is gonna be the Wombo combo. For this variant, I have the industrialized Wombo combo. It is a corrosive one, and for those that don't know, Wombo combo has the rip rockets, and rockets automatically fire from your underbarrel. So every 5 shots, you're gonna shoot a rocket from underneath your underbarrel. It's pretty fucking dope. So moving on up to the second slot, I have my SMG here. This is the deteriorating state flutie. All right, I have not been really lucky on getting a lot of like good Vladoff SMGs, but this one has been doing me pretty nicely, and mainly because of that taser. This one fires a taser that damages nearby enemies for 2.4k damage per second. Okay, I thought the 1.2s and the 1.4k damages were pretty decent. No, this shit slaps right here, and I have yet to see like a nice legendary one that's gonna do like crazy shock damage. As you can see, it does shoot shock rounds from the Torque License Impact magazine, which fires gyro jets that explode on impact. Okay, I hate the ones that stick to them and then you have to fucking reload or do something with the weapon to get them to explode. So I'm blessed to have this one with also Jacobs and Hyperion license grip. So it's a really good SMG if you ask me. Can't really beat it right now. I haven't found any better drops, but this is the one I'm running. And moving on down to this SMG, this is where I'll be using to apply my fire. Unfortunately for me, it is Ripper. I don't like Ripper guns because you have to charge before fully auto firing. But this Gnawing Hailfire is really good at applying that status effect. I can't really read what the Burning Desire does, but I do know that it applies fire really well and it deals a shit ton of damage. And last but not least, I finally got the Armored Bod. Look, let me just say, before I even made this build video, I didn't have this. And the day that I decided to make my build video, I got it. It dropped that same exact day, if not within the same hour of making the decision to drop this build video, and this shit has changed the game. The Armored Bod has the all-arounder talent. This counts as a shotgun, assault rifle, sniper rifle, pistol, and an SMG. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if that has anything to do with the type of damage that it's dealing, but holy shit. My first kill with this was the clip that you guys saw in the beginning intro clip. Yeah, but as you guys can see, I like to show love. I like to try and have a different set of something in each class, like obviously whether it's status effect or just different weapon in general. I don't have 2 SMGs on right now. That's mainly because I don't have a good fire pistol. I don't have any type of pistol that's dealing some good fire damage. I'm still on the hunt for that. But moving on down to the rev kit. All right, we have the large triple bypass. All right, if you don't know, triple bypass, 3 shots of the rev kit. You can't beat it. It's pretty nice, especially when you have passives like when you activate rep kits, it does cooldowns or it deals additional damage, or you know, it does this, it does that. These are going to be good primers for those boss fights. So this rep kit has 3 charges and a 30% chance to replenish a charge on kill. Okay, 30% chance to replenish a charge on kill is huge if you ask me. And I'm also running Leech, which is on use, grants 30% lifesteal for 10 seconds. All right. And as you can see, this is one of my pieces that has Deadeye on it. I do have 3 out of 3 Deadeye. And for those of you wondering what Deadeye is for the 1 out of 3 piece, you're going to get gun accuracy increased by 30%. 2 out of 3 pieces, you're going to get gun critical damage increased by 25%. And then for the 3 out of 3 pieces, you're going to get every critical hit grants 15% critical damage per stack for a max of 5 stacks. All right, so Deadeye is huge. Not going to say it's key and it's what you need to be running, but it's definitely big for like when you're build crafting, and you need to start paying attention to these things whenever you are build crafting so you can get them to synchronize really well. And as for my second piece of Deadeye, it is going to be on the Ancient Jelly, which is going to be my grenade. This is a self-replicating nade. I think I can see what it does, but I'd rather be able to read it. Pretty sure self-replicating is self-explanatory. It just self-replicates, and there's a lot of nades that go everywhere. I have hazardous on here, which is grenade status effect chances increased by 70%, and grenade status effect damage is increased by 165%. And this is a ripper nade. Ripper nades are my favorite because they teleport to their destination, and when you hold it, does this cool ass little animation where it looks like you're just fucking like levitating it, and then you just fucking go. You feel me? It's pretty dope. Also, I wanted to point out they spelled grenade wrong, so whoever needs to fix that, fix it. And these are corrosive nades. If I didn't say that already, I'm pretty sure I said that already, but these are corrosive nades. Moving on down to my class mod slot. Shout out to my homie Superstar 817. This man right here put me on game. All right, like I'm pretty sure if he didn't drop it for me, he got it first, told me about it, and then it kind of opened my eye to look out for it. But I'm almost 100% positive he dropped it for me. Yeah, this is the unshielded reactor. This is in my opinion, one of the best class mod slots for a red tree Harlowe. When Harlowe entangles an enemy, she gains a reactor stack. For every stack, she gains 2% movement speed. When she gains 10 stacks, she also gains 20% gun damage, 20% fire rate, 20% reload speed, and 20% status effect damage for 12 seconds, and loses all stacks once the duration ends. Okay, this is giving us a 30% status effect damage as well as a 30% status effect application chance. This class mod slot is fucking juiced. I don't want to argue about it. This thing is juiced. If you have one better, let me know down in the comments. So far, I'm probably only going to be running this on the red tree Harlowe. Let me just be honest. All right, moving on over to our energy shield. This energy shield is crazy, and I actually did just get this like I want to say right around the same time where I decided that I was going to make the video, and I got the bod shotgun, because look at this fucking thing. This is going to be my 3 out of 3 slots for my Deadeye, and this has glass on it. When damaged, grants a stack of resolve that reduces damage taken by 2% per stack, up to 25 stacks. When the energy shield breaks, releases a nova that deals 7.4k damage with each stack of resolve, increasing the damage by 20%. This is huge. I will be honest, when my next character that I'm working on right now is Amon, and when I read throughout the tree about the resolve things that Amon can do as well and how he can stack that too, I think that I'm probably going to be taking this energy shield and putting it on Amon when I hit level 50. But I also have spike and resistance, or I have spike and resistant. When receiving melee damage while shield is active, 2.9k of that damage is reflected back to the enemies. And when shield is active, it grants 22% resistance to elemental damage. Pretty huge. And then for our last piece, for our augment, I have not found a better augment than this. My luck is just weird, but I have noticed that this augment talent is kind of juiced. Guns with the Vladov licensed parts gain 50% underbarrel damage. Can someone please tell me if that applies to the taser on my SMG Vladov, on my Vladov SMG? As you can see, we have a shotgun increase. We have a shotgun damage increase of 38%, SMG status effect chance increase of 38%, and a gun equip speed increase of 100%. For those that don't know what airstrike does, airstrike has a splash radius increase of 20%. I did want to get at least 2 out of 3 airstrikes to get that splash damage as well, increase of 20%, mainly because of the wombo combo. You know, the wombo combo has a splash damage from the nades that shoots out every 5 bullets. So that paired with the nades as well, like, I don't know, I just thought that having that splash radius and damage would have been a nice little buff to the build too. So if you have anything that could probably help me out, if you have any knowledge, anything that I said in the video that may have been wrong, anything like that, just let me know down in the comments. Make sure to drop those likes. All my socials will be linked down below. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm new to the Borderlands franchise. I am glad that I found my way here in the way that I have. This game is fucking amazing. I'm gonna be sinking countless hours into it, and I hope to take you guys along for the ride. All right, hey, with all that being said, it's krispyENT. I'm up out of here.